In this pandemic situation, I'm receiving a lot of queries from people who are distressed and who want to know about their legal rights in the United Arab Emirates. So here I am to educate you all on few topics in the UAE. My name is Shoaib. I am an Indian qualified lawyer practicing law in UAE since last 12 years. I'll make series of videos, and this is the first in the series which I'm making from my home, as nowadays, as you all know, most of us are working from home. So today's topic is tenancy and lease. As you all know that most of the commercial establishments are working with reduced capacity. This has resulted in loss of sales, loss of income, unpaid leaves for employee, or in some cases loss of jobs. This has resulted in tenants demanding from their landlord to reduce or waive the rent for some period. But before going deep into the topic, the tenant must understand that landlord has the post-dated checks which the tenant has given to him, and the landlord will be well within its right to deposit the same into the bank. And if the check bounces, the tenant will be liable for civil as well as criminal prosecution. So what can we do now? Where to start? The first step is to look at the tenancy and the lease contract. It will have all the terms and conditions specifying the rights and obligation of both parties. We need to check the terms and condition of the lease or tenancy contract. What are the terms which both parties has agreed upon? Most likely in the residential tenancy contract, there will be no terms which will benefit the tenant. In the commercial lease contract, there is a possibility that there are some terms which the tenant or the leasee can benefit from. For example, the force majeure clause. So now let us look at what the law says. UAE Federal Law No. 5 of 1985, which is called Civil Code, in its Article 273, talks about a force majeure event and says that the contract can be cancelled or terminated if there is a force majeure event. So now what can be called as a force majeure event? There is no definition given in the law. Very broadly, it is understood that a natural disaster can be termed as a force majeure event. But whether the COVID-19 will be classified as a force majeure event or not, it is not tested yet. There is no reported court judgment in the code. The second point to be noted in this force majeure event is that the performance of the obligation should become impossible and not just difficult. So whether the payment of rent has become impossible, well, it is debatable. It is certainly become difficult, but it's not impossible. The second article is Article 249, which contains a clause where a judge can modify an obligation of the affected party in case of any unforeseen event of public nature. But to take the benefit of this article, a party needs to approach the court and petition the court to modify the relevant obligation. The third article is Article 782. This article allows termination of a contract by the affected party if, due to governmental action, it becomes impossible to fully enjoy the property. The fourth article is Article 783. This permits the cancellation of a lease by the leasee if there is an imminent danger to person or property which prevents the performance of the contract. The provisions of law which we have looked now are more complex to understand than it looks on the face of it. Moreover, these provisions does not allow any tenant to take any unilateral action. It requires a judge to determine based on the facts and circumstances of the case. So what should we do now? The best option is to approach the landlord, make him aware of the situation and negotiate. The landlord is likely to retain a good tenant. Moreover, a low-paying property is always better than an empty property. We have seen many cases where landlord is taking the situation sympathetically and allowing some rent reduction or waiver for some period. What are the options if there is no mutual agreement? The only option left is to approach the court, or in case of Dubai, to a rental dispute center. The tenant need to carefully understand that there are potential costs and resources involved in litigating any matter before the court or the rental dispute center. They have to weigh the imminent cost with not so sure benefits they will derive. For most of the residential tenants, these costs will far outweigh the benefits they intend to achieve. I hope you liked this video, and if you did, please subscribe and like to my channel. If you have any more queries which you would like me to address and provide clarification on, please ask me in the comments box below. Thank you.